Hi friends, it's Laura Milligan coming to you from my studio in Canton, Ohio. I call it the B Spot. It's a really fun place and I appreciate you joining me today. I'm excited to share 4 different cards featuring the Peaceful View stamp set. It's a single stamp, a stamp set that only has one really large stamp, and I'm going to give you 4 different ideas for ways to use it, and I think they're really pretty and I hope you do too. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera view down and we're going to get started. Please say hi if you're there. Have you mailed any cards this week? Let me know if you've mailed any cards. It's so important. I realize that more and more, and so keep sending those cards. It can change someone's day, make it a much better day for them. So keep sending those cards. It is just 101. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera view down. And I'm going to wait just a second here. So today, they told us it would be cooler today. It is. It's 88 degrees instead of like 94 or whatever it was. Hi, Debbie. Happy birthday yesterday. I hope you had a great day. I bet you did. Hi, Anne-Marie. How are you? Okay, so let me just bring in, I'm going to start with my catalog, and I'm going to show you, this is our new annual catalog, as you know. I'm going to show you, oh, good for you, Debbie. You mailed 2 cards this week. That's awesome. I'm going to show you the 2 stamp sets that we're using today. And the first one is on page 97. It's called Peaceful View. It is a very large stamp. It is one that normally you would use on the biggest block that we have. Hi, Myra. Hi, Janet. The biggest block that we have, it's the F block, and this stamp would fill this whole block. Here it is in person. I think it's sometimes better to see it in person, even though we're not in person with each other, but it's a beautiful, beautiful stamp, and I'm excited to share some cards with you. And then, of course, this one has no words that go with it, so I am pairing it today with the Right Words stamp set. It's found on page 89 of our annual catalog, and it's fun because you can look at this. Here's a sample that one of the artisans made with this same stamp set and with those words. So I didn't really notice that they had paired it with these same words until I found this page this morning. So and then this one, let me just show you. My Post-it's sliding away. I'm not doing this today, but I love on this card how they use sponge daubers and sponge picked up some ink with their sponge dauber and added like the green for the leaves and some green down here for the grass, and then they used brown to add color to the tree, the little bird, and the fence, and then stamped it that way, so you get a two-colored stamp image, I guess I should say. And then this one is just a framed piece, which I think is so beautiful. Lots of pretty things you can do. That's like a piece of art. Hi, Lucy. How are you? Well, yeah, Lucy, so you're going to recognize these cards. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. My first card, what I decided to do with this, I got out my Stamparatus, and I know that we do not sell this anymore, but I know that a lot of you have one, the stamp positioner, and if you don't have the Stampin' Up one, there are other ones, but because we are not allowed to carry this, we can't sell it anymore. You can always use the big block. The stamp will fit. Here's the stamp. You can see how this block, like, it fills the whole thing, right? You could definitely use the big block. I just found for today, because I'm making 4 cards, it was easier for me to just do it on the Stamparatus because I want to make sure that I get a really good impression. And that, of course, is the beauty of a stamp positioner. You can stamp, and then if you didn't get as dark as you wanted, or maybe there's certain places that you didn't get ink, you can close it and stamp it again. So I'm going to start, and I think the biggest thing with this is to make sure that your ink pad is inked really, really well. And so I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I am using Night of Navy ink today. And when I use my Stamparatus, what I like to do is put a stamp set underneath the flap, the glass plate, because then I can see, it just makes it level that way. And it's otherwise you're kind of putting the ink on when the plate is like going downhill. So this keeps it all level. I have inked my Night of Navy ink pad really, really well. It is very wet, nice and juicy. And I'm going to go ahead and just add some ink to this, and I'm going to be very generous. I'm pushing real firmly, and I would be doing the same thing if this was on just the big block, because this is such a big detailed stamp. Okay, so I'm going to just make sure I've got this inked up really well. It looks pretty good, and I am using a smaller piece of basic white. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to really push. And I would be doing the same thing if this was on my F block. I would be doing the same thing. I would be pressing as firmly as I can because I want to make sure I get a good impression. But I do think the key is making sure your ink pad is well inked. And I forgot to mention, I am offering an ordering special with these 4 cards today. If you place an order between now and Sunday, I will send you the card kits to make these 4 cards. It doesn't include any stamped images, but it would include the cardstock, parts, pieces, and the shapes that you'd stamp your words on, that sort of thing. But we are not allowed through Stampin' Up policy to include stamped images. So okay, here this is, and this turned out really good. Look at that pretty little view. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. And I will say for the other, I'm using Night of Navy on all of these cards today, and so the other 3 cards that I'm making, before I started today, I already stamped them with the Stamparatus because I thought I could do that, and I've shown you once how I did it. But really, if you don't have the Stamparatus, use your big block. Just like I said, make sure your ink pad is well inked. Okay, so we have that. But anyway, I didn't finish telling you. So the ordering special is, if you would like to receive the kits for these 4 cards, it's just a $35 order between now and Sunday. And that is after, it has to be $35 in product after you've redeemed any rewards that you may have. It has to be a true $35 order. Okay. So this one, got my card base. Thick basic white. And I'm just going to go ahead and add this panel here. And I don't know, there's always something about basic white and navy blue. White and navy blue, I always think makes such a pretty card. And that's why I picked these colors. Okay. And this is going to be offset a little bit on my card. It's going to be over here on the left-hand side, like that. And then I have 2 pieces of designer paper, and I have my word panel. I thought I did. Yep, you know what? I don't think I got it out. Here's my word panel, and this is cut from the textured notes dies. I used the second size, second to the smallest here. I love these because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dies. Each one has a different pattern. So they're all unique and, well, actually, okay, so a couple of them repeat themselves, but they're all, for the most part, there's quite a few different patterns, and they all add, you know, just a special detail around each one of the rectangles. This is an online only product. It's part of a bundle, but these, even the dies alone, are a great thing to have. Those shape dies are always the ones that you go to right over and over and over again. I call them the workhorse of your studio. All right, and so for this one, this is going to be a sympathy card, and I love this from the Right Word stamp set. It's called "Hoping the Loss You Feel Right Now Will Be Eased by Wonderful Memories." I think that's such a beautiful expression. So I'm going to ink this up with Night of Navy and go ahead and stamp it here. Okay. And you know, even your little words, when your ink pad is inked up so well, it just stamps so nicely. Okay, and then I have 2 little strips of designer paper. You could use 1 strip going all the way across, but I didn't have any more of this particular color, so for this today, I'm just going to use those little pieces. Excuse my arm while I come in here and grab my glue. Okay. And I'm just going to have these stick out a little bit, probably about 1/2 inch or so, like that. Make sure they're straight, and then same thing here. This is from one of the in color cards designer paper packs. We have new patterns this year, and this is the Night of Navy, and it's really pretty. There's this pattern, there's some flowers, there's some leaves. So, and then this whole panel is going to be popped up. These cards are all pretty clean and simple today. Kind of my favorite kind of card. You don't have to spend hours making a card. You can if you want to, but sometimes the goal is to just, you know, make a card and get it in the mail when you have a need for one. Okay, so I'm going to put this here, just across there like that. Isn't that pretty? And then to finish this up, I'm just going to use some gems. These are the Opal Round Assortment. Any Michigan fans out there, I said it was really nice of Stampin' Up! To make some gems that are in the University of Michigan colors, right? Maize and blue. Okay, so I'm going to just take 2 of these, and I'm going to put this one here, and then the smaller here, like that. And that is our first card. Clean, simple, but isn't it pretty? I think it's perfect for a sympathy card. Okay, so there's card number 1. Card number 2. And like I said, I've already gone ahead and stamped the tree image just to save time. I used the same color of ink on all 4 of these cards, Night of Navy, and I just thought it would save a little time now that I've shown you once using the Stamparatus. And like I said, you could do the same thing with your big F block if you don't have the a stamp positioner. Okay, Lucy, I was waiting for someone to do that, so I was prepared for that. It's funny. Okay, so what I have done for this, I have taken my quarter panel, 4x5 1/4, and I am using the arch dies. And I used, I think it's the 3rd largest, but let me just double check that. Yeah, it's the third, no, is it? No, it is not the 3rd largest. It's the 4th largest. 4th from the largest, I should say. So just count in 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, and that's going to go right there like that, and it's going to cut this arch out Did that on my die cutting machine. I've used these arch dies quite a bit as well. Okay, so for this, got my basic white, thick basic white card base. Don't you love the navy and white? I think navy and white is such a great combination. Love it at Christmas, especially with a touch of silver. I think Christmas cards are beautiful that are navy, white, and silver. Okay, so I'm gonna just glue this down. Just center this. Okay, and then I have my arch, and I am gonna pop this up. This is the same size as the first panel with the tree on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add some dimensionals. Put one there. So this is just going to be centered over our first panel. Okay, and then I have my little panel for my words, and for this one I am using "Thanks so much for thinking of me," and that's just going to be stamped on this panel here. I'm going to take my paper snips and angle the end. Like that. And I'm just going to put a dab of glue on the tip here and then also on this side. And this is going to slide under our arch, our raised arch panel. And I'm just going to put that about right there, like that. And I just want to make sure it's straight. Need to get a better angle here. There we go. So that's straight, just like that. And then I'm going to get my take your pick tool out again, add some words. Add some gems. And that will be card number 2. So quick, so easy. And I think I'm going to do the yellowish gems on this one. I'm going to put some up in the trees there. And then one here. Just there like that. Okay, so there's our second card. So quick, so easy, but I think it's so pretty. And don't you just love the little bird? Oh, and that reminds me, I wanted to give you another idea. So I had this stylish shaped circle just sitting here. Sometimes if I make extras of something, I just put them right in front of me here, and then if I need something, I can just grab it and use it. But I had this circle, and I thought, you know what, this would be really pretty to just position over the stamp where the little bird was sitting on the fence. And so that's what I did. I had already cropped it, and I just pushed it down on the stamp where that bird was. And I just thought that was really pretty, and I thought it would be really cute, like to add it to the inside of the card there. Doesn't that look pretty like that? I thought that was a fun idea. So you know what, I'm going to just put that right in this card. It just dresses it up a little bit. Sometimes you can use part of a stamp on the inside of your card, but with this Peaceful View stamp, it's so big, so I thought this was a good way to kind of get around that. I thought that was kind of fun. Okay, so there's card number 2. Card number 3. Let's see. Okay, so for card number 3, I started with a panel that I embossed with the, I think it's called Birch folder. I thought that worked well with this tree. You can kind of see it looks like a tree, like a trunk of a tree with the bark on it. It's pretty. And then I had a panel of basic white, and what I did was I stamped the tree image. In fact, you know, let me just pull this in. I can show you. Let me bring my Stamparatus back in. And I'm going to put this under here again. It just makes it easy. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. I'm pressing really firmly. Okay. And then I'll take this square and I'll just set this here. Looks like I got a little bit of, I'm going to flip it over. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, put this down and give it a good press. And I would do, like I said, the exact same thing if I was using one on a block. Okay, so I have my stamped image. And then what I did was I took the I believe it's the largest circle from the Spotlight on Nature dies. This is another great set of dies. And I just positioned this over the part that I wanted to kind of showcase. And of course I wanted to have the little bird on there. So I just did that. I die cut that and it came out looking like that. So let's just go ahead and put this card together. And for my words for this one, I used Thinking of You. I love the font of this one. It's right there. This is a set of 14 different words, and it's a really, like I said before, it's a really great set. All right, so I'm gonna start by adhering this embossed panel, the birch panel. Got a little bit close to the edge here. I'll kind of scoop that up. Just going to center that there. And then I'm going to add this panel. I really like that, you know, you can make this into a circle. That big bold stamp, you can actually change the shape by die cutting it with a round die cut. Okay, and I'm going to pop this up. This is a big circle too. I think it's probably the biggest circle that we have as far as like die cuts go. Okay, so I'm just going to put that there. I'm going to take my words, Thinking of You, or here. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to take a bit of baker's twine. I'm going to tie a bow. I'll snip this off, and I'm just going to tack this right behind our word panel. So just pick up a glue dot. And I'll just do it like that. Okay, then what I'm going to do is put a dimensional on the side with the bow, just sort of underneath it, like that. And then I'm going to put a dab of glue here because this part's going to be raised up because it's resting on this part that's already raised up. So we'll just put that there like that. Okay, so we have that. Whoops, got a little bit of fuzz there. There we go. We have that, and then I'm just going to add some gems. So who would you mail these cards to? If you were getting some mail to go out, who try to think of somebody you know that would appreciate a thinking of you card. I have someone in mind, so. Okay, and then we're just gonna fold the card base, run it by quickly with our bone folder, like that, and there's card number 3. Again, a quick, simple, clean looking card. Okay, and then our 4th card, I actually pulled in some designer paper, and I'm going to do this on the Stamparatus as well. So I am using a Night of Navy card base. And I am using a patterned paper DSP. This is from the Everyday Skies paper pack. This was an online exclusive. It is still available. I had to borrow some of this for a project I didn't have enough to use, but the patterns are gorgeous, and they're skies, looks like sunrises, sunsets, there's clouds. I don't even think I have a full pack here to show you, but look how pretty that is. Look how gorgeous that is. And you know, haven't you seen the sky when it actually is a color like that? I think that's really pretty. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to fix this. This pack is a partial pack. Like I said, I had to borrow some paper from it, but you kind of get the idea. It's kind of a hodgepodge there. Okay, let me put this away. That's called Everyday Skies. It was part of the Everyday Arches suite. Okay, so I am actually going to stamp the tree on this. And I think I'm going to do it this way because I want this to look more like the night sky, I guess, with just some blue in the bottom. So let me go ahead and bring in my Stamparatus again. And this piece, the DSP is a little bit bigger than I need it to be, but I just thought that would be good. I'm going to ink it up and stamp it first, and then I can cut it down to the size that I want. And again, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to push real firmly. I'm going to get this inked up really well. And hopefully I will get a good impression. So I've only been live for like 28 minutes right now, and I have 3 of the 4 cards done. So that shows you how quickly you can make these cards, which is good. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to give it a lot of pressure. Use my muscles. Okay, and that should be good. Let's see how we did. Okay, and that looks good. Look how pretty. Doesn't that look like a real sunset? I think that's just so gorgeous. All right, so I have another one here. It's the same thing. I've already cut it down. I can go ahead and cut this one down too. I'll go ahead and do that. But this is cut 3 3/4 by 5. So when I do this, I try to be a little strategic in how I'm cutting because like I know for sure, you know, I want to for sure have that part, but look how pretty these darker colors, these oranges through here. It makes it look like it's fall and like the light from the sun is shining through those leaves. I think that's so, so pretty. So I've cut this to start with. It's like at 4 inches and I need it to be 3 3/4. So I think I'm gonna cut from this side. I'm just gonna line it up in 3 3/4 and just cut a bit off there. 3 3/4 by 5. So obviously I don't want this part on my card, so I'm gonna do it this way. And you know what, before I do that, I'm gonna take just a smidge off the top here, maybe like 1/4 of an inch. And now I'm gonna cut it at 5. Yeah, that looks good. So look how gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? And again, that's called the Everyday Skies Designer Series paper. Okay. And then we're going to back this with Balmy Blue. And I have a Night of Navy card base. And I have a word panel. I think it's still in my envelope. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's buried alive in the envelope. There it is. This is also from the Spotlight on Nature set of dies. But look how gorgeous that is. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down. And if you have a pack of this Everyday Skies paper, or if you're thinking of ordering to get these card kits sent to you, there are so many patterns in this paper set that you could use with this tree. And I'm going to keep this flat. I could pop it up, but I'm just going to leave it flat. Oop, and now I'm going to pop up the words. So this I'm just going to center on there like that. I think it's so pretty. And then for this, for the words, I'm going to stamp you're so kind. So go ahead, get that right on there. You're so kind. And then I'm going to tie another bow with my baker's twine. I'm going to do kind of a long loopy bow. Hi, Joan. She says she's from Minnesota and it's raining. It's we got rain last night, which was joyous. We really, really needed it. But then this morning when I woke up, the humidity level was 98%, which is crazy. But if I always think if it's that humid, why isn't it raining? Pretty much is, right? Okay, so I've got my big loopy bow here, and I'm just going to tack this behind my words, and I'm going to do that with a glue dot, and then I'll pop this up. So we just have that there kind of hanging down like that. And then we'll use a few dimensionals. To pop this up. And I'm just going to put that up there in the trees like that. And I'll snip this a bit. It's pretty long. Okay, so we have that. just like that. And then I'm just going to add a few embellishments. And then to finish this, I'm just going to add a 4x5 1/4, my inside panel. To the inside of the card. And there are some words in this stamp set that would work for like the inside of the card. So there you have our 4th and final card, and isn't that pretty? That's probably my favorite one, only because I just love the background. I think it's so gorgeous. But let me bring all 4 of these out. So if you place a $35 order online in my store between now and Sunday, $35 in product before shipping and tax, and after you've redeemed any rewards, then I will send the kits to make these 4 cards to you for free, just as a thank you for supporting me and my business and placing your order. Do you have a favorite? Which is your favorite? I think it's kind of hard to pick, but again, and you could do these in any color, like in the fall. This would be gorgeous in like Cajun Craze. You could do, of course, Early Espresso. You could take Shaded Spruce would be pretty. Of course, the new in color Secret Sea. Anyway, so those are the 4 cards. I'm gonna go ahead and shift my camera view back. So thank you for joining me today. That was kind of a quick 36 minutes, and we made 4 cards together. So, you know, don't discount these big single stamps, because hopefully I've shown you today that there's a lot of different things you can do with them. I want to thank you for watching. I see that Joan commented she loves the rain because the plants are loving it, and I agree. I heard today that thunderstorms are actually good for plants. This is your gardening tip. Thunderstorms are good for plants because lightning releases, I think it was maybe nitrogen. I'm not sure if that's the right thing, but which the plants love. So thunderstorms are a good thing if you're a gardener. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm always so grateful for your support, for your time, for your likes, your comments, your sharing. Appreciate that so much. And until next time, I hope you have time to be creative today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.